It has more sugar in here.
Sugar? I thought they put a sugar substitute.
Yeah, put a sugar substitute, but the sugar. No, you see, what's keeping you from eating is the caffeine below here. Okay.
Yeah.
I know, but it still made me feel better.
Yeah, but this is modern chemistry you're drinking.
You know, older the wiser. Listen to the guy. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
By the way, Shirley, don't you have a question to him about his photos?
Yeah, actually, Corky, I heard about that. You will bring 3 photos to this event. Like, can you tell me that, or like, is there any meaning behind the photos?
Today was supposed to be. Hey George, how you doing? Stop it. George is from Hawaii.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to, but this is where I break all my rules.
I respect you, Stan. Absolutely.
It tastes good, right? Exhibition is here, right?
No, well, this is just 3 photographs. The exhibit that I'm going to be doing is at the Queen's Museum.
Karen Higa.
Oh, I see.
No, not Karen. No, Karen Higa worked at Japanese American National Museum. No, this is Marley Higa.
Is she with the your organization?
Yeah, the Asian American Arts Alliance. Yeah, she used to.
What's her name?
Julie.
No.
Yeah, it's a Korean woman. Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
Oh, you were a chairman.
I was the chairman. I should remember all this stuff.
What about this one?
This one was taken very recently on the national Muslim Unity Day parade, and it takes place at the end of September, around the beginning of October. So before they start the parade, they lay out this tarp, and they pray and bow towards Mecca. So, but in this photograph, let me have some tea for
I still have Diet Coke.
Corky's a true
Put down the
gentleman.
bad stuff.
Yeah, away from bad stuff.
Take this stuff.
Cheers.
Oh, thank you. He is so sweet. And he tell me like it's not healthy with Diet Coke, so he bring me tea.
That's right.
Yeah, this
Listen
is
to him,
digital.
and you're gonna be even
Yeah, more healthy.
healthy.
Where is this?
And this is probably
Chase is everywhere.
yeah. Chase. This is on the corner of
Times Square.
Yeah.
Madison Avenue.
It's free
Chase
commercial.
is every corner.
Yeah.
But annually they have this Unity Day parade for Muslims. So, but in this photograph you see 2 New York City police correction officers and a Jewish rabbi. So he's there, praying with them. So this is reinforces that idea of unity. So they've been having this parade for about 25 years.
So it's like every year and
Every year at the same time. It happened before 9/11. They didn't allow it on 9/11 because 9/11 was September the 11th, and this was only the end of September. They didn't have it for a few years because Giuliani wouldn't allow them to have it.
It's 25 years.
It's about 25 years that they've had this national unity. It's only one, so you can see. Because I took off my shoes so I can get closer to them, so I can get the rabbi and the police correction officers. Okay, and then within like 30 seconds after I took this, they threw me off the.
Woman is not allowed to join this. Because you told me there's only one woman there.
No. There's only one woman that you see, but where she is, there's a whole group of women, behind the men over here.
Oh, I see.
Hasidic Jews, the men are separate from women.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
A lot of these old religions, they would separate the men from the women.
So how about this one?
This one was actually taken 4 days after 9/11 in Central Park. These are all Sikhs, and about 2,500 Sikhs, gathered 4 days after 9/11 to basically say that they were being victimized and they were in support of people who were victimized. On that same day when I was taking this photograph, the first Sikh was murdered in Arizona. The same day in Arizona. So that was the first person. But there were other Sikhs that were beaten up before this. But on that same day, the first Sikh who actually died as a result of the hate crime associated with 9/11.
Hate crime includes gay rights.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you, Corky. Peter, do you have any questions? For
What?
Corky?
Two brothers.
Do you have any
Brothers,
questions?
it's a gigs.
Well, obviously, Corky's a businessman here. It seems to
Now-
know everybody. And just a formal introduction since everything started so swiftly. This is Peter and Shirley from AsianNY.com, and with Corky. It definitely, first time trying to approach him was a little bit difficult.
You were a little intimidated?
I was a little intimidated.
I heard a story.
spent 2 weeks researching on Google, and then I only learned so much. But when coming here, I've been talking to a few gentlemen, like such as Stan, and been telling me a different insightful story, things I don't see on the internet.
Well, you know, there are a lot of stories that people have here about me that the fellow I was sitting across from, he's actually older than I am, but he goes back pretty far. In terms of a lot of activism in Chinatown. At one point there was a protest against the tourist buses that would come into Chinatown. So he was one of the people who was leading the protest against the tour buses.
Oh wow!
Right. So he's got about at least 10 years older than me. Now he's retired, but his daughter was one of the people that was up on the stage. You know, now reading the information about Frank Emmy. Okay, so but his ex-father-in-law was William Horry, right? One of the people that was memorialized. You know, there was Frank Emmy and there's William Horry. So Horry actually started the idea of redress and reparations. He felt that there was 110 violations that had happened to Japanese Americans in this country. So he figured that for every violation, the federal government should be charged $2,000. So that would mean every person would get $220,000. Right? But despite the fact that he lost in federal court, it started a movement that resulted in every Japanese who was in the camps $20,000.
Right.
Okay. And then some of the Japanese didn't want the $20,000, you know, because they thought it was an insult. Maybe they would have taken $220,000, but $20,000, it's you know, the difference between $20,000 and $220,000 is $200,000, right?
Right, absolutely.
So back in the day, like 20 years ago, when that was available, if it was available, it meant a lot more then.
Right.
Okay. But it also forced the federal government to set up a fund for Japanese Americans to do a lot of education about this atrocious act, you know, during the Second World War, so that it never happens again. So, in reference to 9/11, this is not the first time that Japanese Americans have stepped up to the plate and said to the federal government, "You can't do this." In 1979, when they took over the American embassy in Tehran, they incarcerated all these Americans in the embassy there. Japanese, you know, said that, listen, you can't detain all the Iranian students, because a lot of Iranian students here in this country. This is when Jimmy Carter was president. So immediately after 9/11, there are other Japanese Americans who did the same thing. They said, listen, you cannot put them away by reason of race. Right? That's not what a democracy is all about. So because the Japanese stepped up to the plate, the federal government hesitated. Right? They had to figure out a different plan. Right? Now, the reason why I'm so involved with something like this is because I grew up during the Korean War. And at some time, if China entered the war against the U.S., right? I mean, they were already fighting in North Korea, right? The American units fighting against Chinese units from the mainland. Now, if that should happen, there was actually a declared, you know, armed conflict. My family could go into the same camps that all the Japanese Americans went to in the Second World War. Because the executive order 9066 was not repealed until probably around the Reagan administration. So it may have been only about 18 to 20 years ago.
It took that long time.
It took that long time. It lasted, you know, a really long time.
So that could also happen to the Vietnamese people.
FEMA, the way FEMA is set up now, right, Federal Emergency Management Agency, is set up the same way that the War Relocation Agency was done for the Japanese.
Okay.
So it can be a disaster or it could be a war, like Katrina. Katrina, they had, what would only give a certain amount of money to these people, but they were only on cards because they lost, their documentation of, federal papers and,
It was pretty poorly managed.
Yeah, it was very poorly managed. FEMA is actually set up to do that today. Now, there's some Japanese that probably feel that FEMA is the 21st century version of the War Relocation Agency.
Well, there's so much I want to ask him. Maybe we can sit down over a cup of tea at Nanhua, talk about it. I guess, what's your vision for the future? I mean, you've been around for
well, it's as hard as these struggles have been, and there's been a lot of effort to kind of correct the injustices. There's still a lot more to go. Okay, and you can't really rest and say, well, it's not going to happen again. I think in a democracy you have to be extremely vigilant that things like this don't happen. Because if you take a laissez-faire attitude, it will happen.
Understandable. Definitely, it's an education school for me on Saturday. And
Yeah.
Shirley as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
On behalf of
Actually, I have an extra
You have a
question.
question?
Yeah, actually, as I know that, cause I Google you as well. Like I know, like your full-time job actually is not a photographer.
No,
But
it's
you
not.
like I know, but you become like you chase your passions and try to become a photographer, and like now you establish, and then you have very good reputation. Then I want to know, can you give me some suggestions for the young people now, like if they're still struggling, what they should do, and like
The young people should probably come to events like this.
try to encourage young people to try out more. And
Yeah,
then
I think
to
that they
move around.
probably the perception is a lot of young people are sitting in front of video games
Yeah.
and sitting in front of a computer monitor, texting or and emailing their friends about what they're going to do, what they're going to eat, and so forth. But there's a lot more. There's a woman here that was accused of assassination of the Emperor Hirohito in the late 70s, and she turned out to be the first Chinese American woman plumber apprentice in trade unions in this country. But she happens to be Chinese American, but she's here. Sitting in the audience. I haven't said hello to her, but there's just a lot of very interesting people. A lot of the actually that's Liz over there. So, there are some other people like Kenji over here who last summer got to broadcast baseball games in Japanese for internet TV network. So, but I think that. When Americans are going to start to take notice is when you have someone in a baseball game that at the bottom of the ninth inning hits a home run and the home team wins the World Series. Right? The closest to have that happen was this fellow in the Yankees. I'm trying to remember his name now. He's
Let's try to find George.
He was fine, George will probably remember. But until then, I don't think a lot of Asian American men will get the notice that they rightfully deserve. It's a lot easier for women because in other ethnic groups, you have African women who are actually much more successful than, let's say, African American men. Oprah Winfrey is certainly much more successful than any black actor that you can possibly think of. Even Tavis Smiley. Karen she's sitting over there in the maroon sweater against the wall. So, but there's just a lot of things that are going on, and see, the other thing in New York City is they don't have Asian American Studies as a major. You cannot major in Asian American Studies. Let's say you go to NYU, you can say that you major in it, but you don't get the disciplinary courses that you would on the West Coast. Okay. And I think that if they allow that, even in the elementary school system, it would probably reduce the amount of hate crime. Because a lot of the Asian kids, they don't know why they're getting beaten up. Sometimes they're getting beaten up because they're smart, right?
You remind me of Tiger Mom.
I'll never be a tiger mom. I'll never be a tiger mom.
success? Like,
She's successful,
Yeah.
but
But it's
I
not-
think she's gone back and to say that she's not really like that. Okay, but the media, played it up to a certain point.
actually, her
People start taking
daughter,
sides.
her daughters fall out, like, try to support her, like, because people only saw one aspect.
Yeah, well, one aspect.
Yeah, actually, there's another aspect, like the fun part, like how their family works together, play together.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that the mother didn't accept this birthday card from her, it was like the media played it up, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a member of the Asian American Journalists Association. I'm a founding member of the local chapter here, and Donna is actually a member of the AJA, and there are a few other people. Henry Mortsuga had gotten. So a lot of us, Stan Honda, he was walking around. He photographs for agency France Press. He has worked for Newsday, New York Newsday, back then. So there's a lot of. If you just ask some of these people, why'd you come today, or what's your connection to this, event, they'll have lots of answers. People will just jump in and say, I do this and I did that, But I think overall Asians are probably a little too modest to say what they do, or how much passion they have about something, unless it's embraced
Actually,
by
they
the
should
community.
take action first.
Well,
and then try to
appropriate
involve
action.
more.
On one hand, there's one person who over promotes herself constantly. And I say, oh man, I don't want to be that person. I've seen that happen too. So.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Corky.
Yeah.
Nice meeting
Okay.
you.